Welcome to the Narcissist Slayers podcast with your hosts, Hope Jay
and Lynn Catalano.
Every episode, we focus on recovery from narcissistic abuse. We talk about topics that we believe will help people to identify signs of abuse, learn strategies to cope, and most importantly, how to heal and move forward from narcissistic abuse. We are both survivors of narcissistic abuse ourselves, lawyers, and one of us is an author.
Well, thank you, Hope. My book, Wrecking Ball Relationships, How to Identify, Live With, or Leave the Narcissist in Your Life, is available in many places, including my website, lynncatalano.com.
Because we have been in your shoes, we know how difficult this journey can be. That is why I founded the Center for Hope of Western New York, a nonprofit organization which provides education, support, and advocacy for survivors of narcissistic abuse. You can find out more about the Center for Hope at centerforhopewny.org, and all donations are gratefully welcomed and tax exempt.
Please follow us on Instagram at NarcSlayersPod, and also on Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Spotify, and YouTube, the Narcissist Slayers Podcast. You can also email us directly with your questions at narcslayers@centerforhopewny.org. Welcome back to the Narcissist Slayers Podcast. I'm your co-host, Lynn Catalano.
And I'm your co-host, Hope Jay.
And today we will be tackling our annual topic. We're going to talk today about why narcissists consistently ruin holidays, special occasions, family gatherings, and what you can do about it.
So, Lynn, we have, talked about this at the holiday season. I think, every year it's an annual thing because it is so important for people who have, two types of situations people are in. I think one is that they're still contending with this person, right? Either they're a family member that they, have to deal with at the holiday table, somebody that they don't see all the time, but they do, have to go and participate in a gathering where that person's going to be and they can't avoid it. Or it's a family member, your own family member, somebody that is a part of your nuclear family who tends to ruin holidays, as I know that something you've experienced and talk about quite a bit. And on the flip side of that, you may have just recently broken up with somebody, or you are dealing with an ex in a custody situation and trying to figure out how to navigate that scenario. So, this affects people all the way around, whether you're still attempting to navigate it while that person's still in your life, or you've set boundaries and trying to keep this person out of your life. And the holidays come and oh my God, right?
Well, it's like we know that narcissists love to create drama and cause chaos and confusion where there isn't any. That's just a blanket statement. And holidays seem to be one of the best places, one of the best platforms or stages for them. They certainly get jealous when the spotlight's not on them. And if you have extended family and you're all around the table, people are not focused on them. And this is a great opportunity for them to suffer some kind of narcissistic injury where they take offense or perceive a slight, and they're going to go into a whole spin, a narcissistic rage storm, however that comes out.
Right. And, something else I think that really triggers narcissists at the holidays is that you're happy or you want to be happy, right? You're in the festive spirit. You're trying to bring joy to your children perhaps and your extended family members. And narcissists hate happy. Like they are not interested in joy, right? They're interested in chaos and pain and how they can bring you down to that level so that you're in that place with them. And that is, they're like the Grinch, right? They want to destroy your holiday happipiness. Yeah. And it's really, it's very unfortunate when you have to deal with this kind of thing during the holidays. But I think in this podcast, we'd like to give people some, like you said, some practical tips of what they can do to best create a buffer and or a boundary so that this person does not totally infiltrate your holiday, seasonal happiness and ruin the holidays for you and for your family.
Yeah. This is such a hot topic. I want you to know that I actually created a course around it that
Oh,
people
wow.
can take. And it's like a short course. You can take it. It's self-paced videos, bite-sized videos, because you need these strategies. You need to have them and you need to be prepared.
Right.
I don't know if I've said this to you before. I often say this to my clients, but I know you'll get it. Hope and I are both from Western New York, and in Western New York, we had a department store, and the department store's name was Sims. That's not relevant here. But the point is, their motto was an educated consumer is our best customer. And as a kid, by the way, I had no idea what those words meant. But today, I feel like dealing with someone who suffers from narcissistic personality disorder, you need to be educated. You need to be well informed, and you need to be armed and prepared to deal with them.
Right. So Lynn, I want to ask you first, if you have a narcissist in your family and you're expected to spend holiday time with them, how would you, or what would you tell our listeners in terms of like how they should prepare themselves for that situation and how they can best contend with this thief of joy, the narcissist in their family?
Yeah. Um, Hope I can tell you, leading up to the holidays, for me, I was filled with anxiety because the idea of seeing this person, of sharing a table, of knowing that it wasn't if they were going to have a rage storm, it was when. And so I'm sure other family members felt the same, by the way. It's hard. It's very difficult because you're making a choice between, I don't know how many holidays I have left with, Aunt so and so or grandma or, uncle so and so, because as they age, we want those holidays together. And this other person is really an obstacle to our happiness. So what should you do? And I'm glad you asked, Hope I've put together a list of 5 things you should not do in order for you to survive your next family gathering, holiday, special occasion, whatever, or even a vacation with this person. So these are 5 things for you not to do. Number 1, don't tell anyone what to do or how to do it. I know that we're tempted to, especially to tell this person, sit there, don't sit there, do this, don't do this. Like it's just a normal thing you would say at the holidays, right? No, no, don't eat too many hors d'oeuvres. We're going to have a big meal.
Mm.
My aunt once said that to my narcissistic father, and he went, fine, and went right into a narcissistic rage storm. How's that grab you? Very innocent thing to say, right? But narcissists don't take directions from anyone. We know that, right? They're always the director. So they tell everyone else how to behave and what to do. So just, give yourself a break. Don't tell that person what to do or what not to do. All right. Number 2, lower your expectations from this person.
Hmm.
Don't expect them to be able to see your perspective. They can't. They absolutely can't.
So I'm sorry, but like when you say lower your expectations, so I think that, you go into the holidays, everyone has like expectations about, oh, what the day's going to be like, or, maybe you're expecting this gift from someone. And so I think what you're saying is don't expect anything from this person.
Well, you're saying in the beginning of this podcast, you were saying that, narcissists act like Debbie Downer to the happiness, to the joy, right? Everyone's so
Thief of joy. Yeah.
yeah, right? Okay. So if you know that already, don't expect that they've changed just because you haven't seen them in 2 months, 6 months, a year, whatever it's been, okay? They have not changed. We have been over this so many times.
Right.
Narcissists are not able to change. So if you know that, don't expect them to all of a sudden say, "Hey, Hope, come sit next to me and tell me all about your life and your career," because it's not gonna happen, okay?
Right.
They're
And
gonna
in
say Hey, Hope, I want to tell you about my new car and my new this and my this and me and how important I am to the turkey and blah, blah, blah. You know that.
Of course. Yeah.
So I think that um, you need to be very realistic about this person.
Right. And I think like no expectations is probably the best way to go into this. Like, you know, the probably the best thing that could happen
It's nothing.
is right. Right. Okay.
That's what our goal
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Number 3 is please don't expect them to behave in any kind of like honest, transparent, authentic, or have any conversation that is one of those things. Okay. Narcissists are not capable of showing vulnerability. So we know that. So they're not going to have these conversations where they ask you difficult questions or they express difficult things. Like, I'm the first person in the room that's going to tell you either, whatever it is, mistake I made, or, like what happened, or if I just recently I made homemade granola and I burned the granola. Okay. I burned the granola. Nobody else. It wasn't anybody else's fault. It was my fault. But that kind of stuff happens. And someone who suffers from NPD will never say that type of thing to you. And I do think that, we grow and deepen our relationships when we have uncomfortable conversations, when we have those conversations showing vulnerability. They are not capable of that. So don't expect that to happen.
So can I ask a question, like to try to make it relevant to like a holiday? Like, let's say you're having this person over, it's Christmas Eve or it's Christmas morning. Are you saying like this person, maybe they bring something to the Christmas dinner and it's burned or it's
Well,
you're basically, what you're saying is, again, kind of similar to what you said earlier, but like just don't engage. Don't engage, don't criticize, don't comment.
yeah, I think it's about the vulnerability here.
Right.
But I do think, it's funny. I was thinking on a different level, but that's a very funny way to think about it.
Yeah.
Because obviously with a narcissist, it's always someone else or something else's fault.
Right.
So we know it's never going to be their fault. So that's absolutely true. But also I think that when you have, I often have conversations with family members, and here I just came back from a great Thanksgiving with my mother's family, and it was incredible. And I was able to have these deep conversations, these very authentic, transparent, genuine conversations. Don't expect that with a narcissist.
Right.
That's what I'm saying here. So,
okay.
All right. Number 4, don't start an argument. You know their triggers. You know how easy it is to send them into that narcissistic rage storm. Don't push their buttons. Also true in the converse. Don't take their bait.
Right.
Because everything they say or do is to provoke a reaction out of you.
Right. And I think like maybe again we could try to use a real world example. Like I think that what narcissists tend to do when it comes to holidays and gifts, this is something that I have experienced myself and that I've heard from other people, is they're not buying a gift for you. They're not like saying, yeah, I know this person and I've paid attention to this person and I know what this person appreciates and what they like, and they're going to go out and they're going to find something that is meaningful. If anything, they're buying either something that they would like or appreciate, or they're buying something for you that they, like, for example, if you are in a romantic relationship with a narcissist and, you're not the type of person that's comfortable in skimpy lingerie or whatever, and they show up with, this stuff from Victoria's Secret that you would never wear, it's not for you, it's for them, is what I'm trying to say. So when it comes to gift giving and to try to, parlay back to what you were saying, don't, if they hand you a gift and they're all, expecting you to be super excited about it, and you open it and you're like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? Probably the best thing to say is nothing, right? Or just a very quick thank you and move on.
I think you can't win in that situation Because if you just say thank you, that's not going to be enough of a reaction for them. They wanted you to go, oh my gosh, you did this for me. You are so incredible. How could you? I can't believe you did this. Oh my gosh. Now, I
Well,
got
sure.
one better for you, and I think I've shared this on this podcast before, but I'm going to tell you. So my father bought me a purse, and it was a designer purse, and it was very nice, and it was just not my taste. And he bought it for me for like my birthday. And I said, thank you. But, and he said, oh, there's a gift receipt in there, which was very not him, but I was surprised by that and that pleasantly. And I did exchange it and got something else, and everything was fine.
So you thought.
The holidays rolled around. And my girls were young, okay? And I have 2 daughters, and they were both real wide-eyed. And he got me a holiday present. He was like, open it, and he's all excited. And I'm like, okay. And I open it, it's the same exact purse, the same exact purse. And I went, huh. So what does that say? That says he doesn't care about me. He didn't care to get deep and know me and know my taste and know what I liked, because it's irrelevant. All that's relevant is that he spent money on a gift for me, and I should be so appreciative.
Of course. And that goes without saying. But to our listeners, when you're in that situation,
Yeah.
I want to try to give some practical, like real world advice about how to navigate that so that the whole holiday doesn't implode, right?
I just think unless you do the whole, oh my gosh, you're the best, you're the greatest, you did this, thank you so much. I don't know how you win in that. I don't know how you get past it.
Well, you know what I think, Lynn, is having this awareness and kind of knowing that you can't win is really the most important, piece of the puzzle.
Wow.
Because I think what happens with a lot of people in narcissists is that you work so hard because you want them to approve, right? We're people pleasers, right? And I think it goes the other way too. You spent all this time trying to find the perfect gift for them, right? You went out and you thought so deeply about what you think this person wants and enjoys and likes, and you hand them this gift, and they open it and they're like, whatever. And of course that's going to hurt your feelings as a person with feelings, right? So, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, in order to alleviate it coming from either side, you being disappointed about their reaction and you not understanding how to react to their nonsense, just kind of having a real good grasp of this is how it's going to be. There's really nothing that you can do to change it, and to understand it, this is very likely what they're going to do and how they may react, that you can just sort of buffer it for yourself, because you're going to be prepared on an emotional level for it. You're not going to, you know what I mean? You're not going to be so hurt and or expect things that you simply can't get from this person, right?
Agreed. I think that's good. That goes back to my educated consumer, that's excellent. And number 5, don't humiliate them. This never ends well. And again, it's pretty easy to do. You know exactly who they are and what they've done. But nothing can really be gained from humiliating them. This is just going to cause a narcissistic injury, and they'll go right into that spin, into that narcissistic rage storm. So just don't do it. All right. Now I have 5 things, Hope, that you should do to survive the holiday.
Okay.
5 things, but again, when you think about those 5 things not to do, it's all about power and control, right?
Sure.
That's what everything goes back to. So if they aren't happy, no one's happy.
Right.
Okay, so what are the 5 things you should do? Number 1, have brief conversations with the narcissist. Be polite, be respectful, stick to their script, and avoid their triggers. And so what does that actually mean? That actually means just stick to their script. So don't ask them any questions. Like, what are you trying to do? Like, everything there is to know about this person, okay? And you do not need to get into anything with them. So you say, Here, may I get you a drink? May I, hey, nice to see you. Don't ask them how they are. You know what I mean? Like, avoid those kind of things. Make it nice so that it's just someone that you don't really want to talk to, but don't pretend they don't exist. That's their job. They do that real well. Agree?
Okay. Yep.
Number 2, do spend as little time with them as possible. I always find, I know we talked about toxic workplaces last time, and we're going to talk about them again in a part 2. When you deal with anyone who's high conflict, anyone toxic, whether this is a family member or someone you work with, I do find that the less time you spend with them, the better your whole being is. Okay. So, if you know that they're watching football in the family room, maybe you're going to go in the kitchen and do something there, or talk to someone, or have a cup of cocoa with somebody else, like, try not to engage.
So Lynn, is this something that you think that, like, let's say your siblings, you and your siblings could sort of have a conversation ahead of time and kind of plan this out? Because if your father or your mother is the narcissist, right, and you have to, for whatever reasons, you feel obligated that you have to have the holidays with them, perhaps there's a way that you could have these, again, awareness kind of conversations ahead of time with your siblings and be like, all right, guys, like, let's huddle,
Yeah,
let's figure
yeah,
out how we're gonna sort of manage dad, right?
yeah,
Because we don't want to engage him in any of the things that you had said in the do not
yeah.
section, right?
Yeah, and I do think that, listen, I think that in a family, if you're blessed with siblings, I am an only child, and thus it was so much more difficult for me. If you're blessed with siblings, I think you've probably shared these observations with your siblings over the years, especially if you might be the scapegoat and somebody else is the golden child.
Right, right.
That's where it gets into the nitty-gritty. Um, yeah, they're gonna be aware. Your partner, your husband, your wife, whomever, is definitely gonna be aware. I had a client once, and I promise you his wife knew exactly how to help him in those situations. His mother was his narcissist. And so she would very much steer the conversation away, or she would do something to remove him from it. And so I think that whomever you're with, they know what's going on. My husband knew the whole time, and he was an incredible asset to me
Yes.
during that. So, so the answer is yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And that goes for what I'm about to say. I always tell people I'm going to talk about boundaries, but with boundaries, I always tell my clients, think about it ahead of time. Like, this is something you're going to plan for, because you've got to come to terms with your boundaries ahead of time and know, okay, if this happens, nope, I'm leaving the room. If this happens, I'm probably leaving the house.
Right. That's
Because,
really good. That's really, really good advice.
you
And
know,
I want to take it one step further. Just so that, because I think this is an uncomfortable thing for people to discuss,
yeah,
but I just want to make it okay. If you are a person who comes from a toxic family, and one or both of your parents have narcissistic traits and they have made holidays unbearable for you, you have every right not to go. You have
absolutely.
right. You
Yeah,
have if you feel like this is just going to be too much,
yeah,
don't allow your guilt and obligation to blind you
yeah,
to, making a decision that is going to be best for you and, your family, your, like you said, your spouse, your children. And, I'm going to speak for myself. Like, I've had to set boundaries in my family of origin with toxic people. And as did you, Lynn. And I think that a lot of times people don't understand, well, I can't believe, like, you're not talking to your mother, or you're not talking to your father. And, people tend to be very judgmental about that. And I'm just here to say, and I want to make it okay for anybody who's listening, that if you feel like that you need to set that sort of final boundary where, I'm not going to interact with this person because it's not good for my mental health,
yeah.
that is perfectly okay.
Yeah, I had to do that as well, Hope. And, I ended up, losing a whole side of the family that didn't want to acknowledge anything. They said, it's family, like suck it up. But that's not the answer. When it affects your mental, emotional, physical health, that's not the answer. You didn't do anything to deserve this. And your peace of mind is priceless.
Exactly. And if you want to protect your peace at the holidays, especially at the holidays, as stressful as they can be,
Yes, agreed.
Lynn and I are giving you permission right now to do that.
Do it. Do it. Do it for you.
That's right.
All right, I have 2 more.
Okay.
Number 4, do spend time with family and friends, engage with them. The people that you choose to spend time with, make the best of this situation, right? You came because of member Aunt so and so or grandma or uncle so and so was aging. Spend time with them. Sit there and have a cup of cocoa with them and share some cookies and really talk. Enjoy yourself. And number 5, this was the one you just said. Do make the call. Make the call whether you attend the holiday or not, special occasion, whatever it is. Give yourself some grace because your mental, emotional, and physical health trumps compliance every time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. I just want to touch on one thing
Yes,
before we
please.
end today.
Please.
And that is I've talked about this all the time at the holidays, but the holiday Hoover maneuver.
Yes.
Okay. And this really just has to do with when you have um set those boundaries and you have made the call, right? And you have decided for yourself that I am not going to engage with this person. And maybe you've decided it, months before. The holidays are the time when narcissists always come back around. They come back around because they know that you have positive, happy memories, particularly, if you were in a romantic relationship with them, they know that you're vulnerable. And it's a really good time for them to try and feel the waters and, stick their toe in to see whether or not you are still going to be malleable, whether or not you're still going to be open to engaging with them because you haven't really worked on your boundaries in a way that you're able to resist that Hoover. And just very quickly, a Hoover is when you haven't had contact with a narcissist for some period of time. And then suddenly, you hear from them. And sometimes it's a random thing where, they send a text message and it's some weird text and, you're not sure whether or not it was meant for you. That's a trick. It's a trick to get you to respond and say, whatever. They're fishing, right? They reach out to other family members to see how you're doing, and they want that message passed along that they miss you, and especially at Christmas or whatever. So they really use this opportunity to work on your heartstrings and whatever residual feelings you might still have for that person if you haven't completely resolved that for yourself. So all that I want people to know is that, expect the holiday Hoover maneuver, expect it. Because just like we said earlier in the podcast, if you can kind of prepare yourself mentally and emotionally for what's coming, then you're not going to be surprised when it does. And that goes for when you're interacting with them, in the context of a holiday gathering, or when you've broken it off with someone and suddenly they're texting you or whatever, calling, whatever, and you're like, wow, I haven't heard from this person in quite some time. And maybe now you're saying to yourself, well, and we do this mental gymnastics with ourselves when we haven't been with this person for a while and suddenly we're not quite remembering it. It's called romanticizing the relationship. And now we're thinking, oh, maybe it wasn't so bad. And I really do miss this person. And we had all these great holidays together. And maybe I should go have coffee with them. No, 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 no. That is when you need to reach out to your, I'll call it your sponsor, your support person, your counselor, your coach, anybody who has been supporting you through the process of leaving this abusive relationship. And you need to, say, I feel, I'm feeling really weak right now. I'm feeling very vulnerable right now. The narcissist, has reached out to me. It's, the holidays. I'm watching all these Hallmark movies and everyone has a partner and I'm alone at Christmas. I mean, I'm saying that somewhat facetiously, but really I'm not,
Yeah.
because people are sad,
Vulnerable. Yeah.
and vulnerable at the holidays, and narcissists know this.
Yeah.
So you have to really, avail yourself of your support system, the people who understand what you're going through. If you don't have that support system, that's what we're here for. Lynn and I and the Center for Hope of Western New York, we're all here to try to help you through, this process. So if you need additional assistance at the holidays, we are here for you.
Hope, that was an incredible description, but I don't think you shared with our listeners why it's called the Hoover maneuver.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's called the Hoover maneuver because it was kind of coined from the Hoover vacuum, right? And essentially what does a vacuum do? A vacuum tries to suck everything up, right? So it's the narcissist trying to suck you back in.
Yes. I just wanted you
Yeah.
to make that clear.
Yeah.
That's an
Yeah.
important part.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that everyone has a peaceful, wonderful holiday season without any narcissists in your orbit. However, if you do, I hope today we gave you quite a few tips and strategies for you to implement this holiday season. For more information, you can always check out my blog. It's on the Center for Hope website. You can consult the Center for Hope's resources. And we have a ton of videos. Please follow us on our YouTube channel, Narcissist Slayers Podcast. And I certainly have a course on the holidays if you're interested on my website as well. But we are at this time of year also focused on giving. Hope, do you want to share with our
Yeah.
listeners?
Yeah. So we, each year at the Center for Hope of Western New York, we have a fundraiser for our clients, the people who have used our services and have gone through our narcissistic abuse education and recovery workshop series. We are raising money to support or sponsor a survivor this holiday season. And you can find more information about the fundraiser, the Beacon of Hope fundraiser, on our website at centerforhopewny.org. And any donation, any amount that you feel that you can give at this, holiday giving season, we just want you to know that you are going to be helping a survivor to learn the critical skills to be able to leave an abusive relationship.
Real impact for your donations this year. So please, you can actually see your donations at work helping actual people. So thank you in advance for all of your contributions. And we wish you a wonderful holiday season.
We do. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time on the Narcissist Slayers.